Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying with Jim Misiura. Today we're going to tie a CDC budding emerger. The hook I have in the vise is a size 16, is a light wire scud hook. I'm going to use olive 16-aught thread, and this is Vivus. Very strong thread. We're going to start the thread behind the eye, and we're going to come back about halfway, and then we're going to come back half of that, and that's where we're going to put our wing posts. For our wing post, I just have a piece of white foam, just a piece of white foam, and I cut a little wedge in there. I'm going to tie this in. It doesn't matter if it's very long in the front because we're going to trim it off later. We're going to take that foam and we're going to tie that in, and we're going to wrap back on that a little ways, and then I'm going to trim the excess. That foam will help you get a tapered body there. And you can see when you get to the back, it all but disappears. I'm going to tie that front down there just a little bit more. You can see how it's getting squashed even more there. Then we're going to bring our thread back partially around the bend. Now we're going to put a shuck on. You can use Z-Lon. I'm going to use this is part of the bootlace that I took apart. And if you want to learn how to do that, you can check out my video in the materials playlist for fly tying materials. I show how to take the bootlace part. This is going to be a small shuck. We don't want much, we just want it to look like it's starting to come out of the shuck. I'm going to give it about 3 wraps, then I'm going to pull it down to length. We only want a little piece just like that. Very small, maybe 1/3 the body length. And we could go ahead and trim that away. I'm going to go ahead and tie down that tag there. Now for our body, I have a stripped Peacock Herl, and to do that, you can check out one of my videos on stripping Peacock Herl, and you simply just put it on the table and run a pencil eraser on it, and it will take it right off. Going to tie that in by the tip, but I cut some of the tip off to get down to a stronger part of the Herl. We're going to tie that in, and I'm going to bring my thread all the way up to the wing post. Now I'm going to put a little bit of head cement on the shank of the hook. Now we're going to wrap the Peacock Herl. We're going to wrap that right up to the wing post. You don't have to worry about going too far with the Peacock Herl. You're just going to put some dubbing on there anyway. I'm going to touch off the excess. You can see the excess head cement in there. And bring that right up, and we're going to tie that off. and break off the excess. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the Beatis dubbing olive. We're going to make ourselves a nice skinny noodle. I'm going to put some wraps in front. Kind of give it like almost a figure 8 there. And I'm going to put a couple of wraps around the wing post. And now we're going to make a dubbing loop. Take your dubbing whirl. Give that a once around. Go around the thread. And then you can wrap it, put a couple wraps right there by the eye. We're going to tie this off behind the eye instead of to the wing post. I'm going to put a little bit of wax on my thread. Now I took a slate gray CDC feather and I put it in my dubbing block. And if you haven't made yourself a dubbing block, I suggest that you go to my materials playlist and find the video for a dubbing block. Cost you less than $1 to make these. And you take a chip clip, nice smooth one, clip onto the CDC, and you take it out and you have your CDC in the clip, and we're going to cut the stems off. Now we're going to put the clip inside the dubbing loop, slide it off, and then just give your dubbing whirl a spin. Okay, now we have a CDC hackle, and we're going to wrap that around the wing post. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to tie that off, like I said, behind the eye, and make the head. We'll go ahead and trim off that thread. And then we're going to pull everything, the CDC, up the wing post, and we're going to trim that. I'm going to get all the CDC up the wing post. And then I'm going to trim that. We're just going to cut a little button on the top. Take our whip finish. We'll go ahead and trim that off. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to put a little bit of head cement on the bottom there. It might turn my dubbing a little bit darker, but that's okay. Put a little bit right by the eye there. Take a spare hackle laying on your desk and run that through the eye. And we know the eye is clear. I'm going to widen this out. And here we have the bottom of it. You can see what the trout is going to see. And here we have a CDC budding emerger blueing olive. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Leave comments, questions, suggestions, and most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.